Pray, Love. Come and listen to the women as they had some insights after the movie about loving men, but more importantly, loving themselves first. Before we start honoring Lisa for this amazing step she's taken in her new home, in her own space.
Thank you.
We have a lot of goodies, a lot of things we're going to do. But I didn't have a chance to tell you how much I really enjoyed Girls' Night Out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon with you guys. It was awesome, just connecting with you. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the movie Eat, Pray, Love, because when I saw it coming out, I'm like, this is us. And what your favorite parts were about the movie that resonated with you. Because I know, Glenda, you said there were some lines in there.
Yes.
For me, I remember that part where she's yelling at her friend because she's so frustrated. She's like, I used to have an appetite for food, for life. And I remember exactly where she was. You're so burnt out and pissed off and angry. Nothing tastes good. Nothing feels good. And I thought it was a really brave journey for her to just like throw it and just say, I'm out of here. And to have this journey specifically with herself. And even when there was a temptation of a really hot guy that smelled good, remember the hot Italian? She was like, I'm not doing that until she was actually ready to get into that space. And she respected the area of working on herself. So when she said the appetite, I used to have, and she's screaming, I'm like, I remember that. So I wanted you guys to share what worked for you in that movie or the book.
For me, there were two, and it was centered around the American guy in the ashram, the one who called the groceries.
Oh, Richard.
Yes.
I loved him.
I loved what he said to her when she was sitting and she was, lonely, and she was remembering the guy that she met, the young guy. And she was saying how she missed him and she realized she still loved him. And he looked at her and he said, it's okay. Love him. Miss him and let him go.
Yes.
I love that
Yes.
because that spoke to me for, similar kind of reasons. And then the other thing was kind of following on that when they were up on the rooftop and he was saying this was like he shared his story with her and then she sat on her own and she was reminiscing and she went back to their wedding when they were dancing, and when she held him and said, I really did love you. That spoke to me because I can tell you my ex-husband never thought I loved him, but when I sat there and I watched that, I brought tears to my eyes actually. I was really very emotional because I don't think he knows, my ex that is, just how much I did love him.
That's very sweet.
And that really did.
That's so very
That always amazes me why men just don't get it. That they just don't understand how the capacity of a woman, how much we love them at that point. And they miss it. They miss that family connection. They miss the love. And I don't know that if it's a protective mechanism that they have, but if they could only embrace that feeling the way we do.
Right.
But maybe
But
they're not meant to.
I think that when going through, and are you applying going through the process of a divorce? Is that what you're applying? If you could only know how much they love you, or going through the process of divorce, or just generally?
I think from the beginning, from when you're married, and even the process, I don't think you would get to that point of a divorce if they knew how much we commit to them.
Do we tell them? Do you feel like you told
Right,
him? Did you feel
communication.
like you actually, because guys are not mind readers, women are not mind readers, just because you're married doesn't mean that the other person gets it. So my question to you
Yes.
is, did you? You really did?
I absolutely did, and he missed it.
Okay, well then.
He just didn't get it.
Can I tell you the truth? I don't think I gave that to my husband. Even though I did love him very much, I don't think I expressed it to him in the way that I believe he wanted. And during that scene in the movie, Glenda, it's so funny, because I thought about my ex-husband, and I cried at that part. It's a little tear in that part, because I remembered that I really did adore him. I really did. I mean, he was like a cool guy to me. I really loved that guy.
You know that whole scene in Fiddler on the Roof? And he said, Goldie, do you love me? Do I love you? I've been with you for how many years? I've raised your children. I've cleaned your clothes. I've made food for you. Is that not love?
Not according to him.
No, they don't know.
needed-
They don't know. That's, guys,
Not how he
and
needed to
like,
hear it.
and I think this is where a lot of relationship end up going to divorces is because the communication really not communicating that. And also, women, we think that by cooking for them and cleaning for them and doing the laundry and doing, that's what they look, that's not what they're looking for.
Right, but
They
to ask the
want that-
question, if you could ask the question, like you said you did, but you may not have done it in a way that he needed
He
to hear.
understood it, right.
But
Or
if you
the
could
way
say
he
to your
needed to
spouse
hear.
or your
But you can
boyfriend, I
also
really need to know how you need to hear it
loved.
from me.
Yes.
How do you get, what communication? Tell me like I'm two.
Well, now that I understand that, I might have said to him, what do you need for me to communicate to you how much I
Plain,
love you?
simple English for the
Right,
next
exactly.
relationship.
Right, absolutely.
You can be so direct.
Learn
and
and
I
do it
still
better
don't
next
hear it.
time.
I mean,
Absolutely,
when
yeah.
I found out my ex was cheating on me when we went to separate, I said, look, I forgive you now. Just take me back. I love you. Just be there. Let's try. And he didn't put forth the effort. He made me leave. I had to move back to New Jersey, and I sent him love letters every day for months, and no response. I mean, I did everything to try to
Likewise.
communicate that I'm here for you still.
Right.
But if
there
the
are
person is
times-
closed, but if they're closed, if they're not willing to open up, if the door is closed, the door is closed, like whether you can,
But why can't they
it's two-way
communicate
street.
before they close the door? It is a two-way street.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing until, boom, the door was shut in my face.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But I think you have to realize who you're dealing with, because it's so different with every situation. And I think the point here is so amazing, is like, how do we communicate our loves? Do we allow ourselves to fully communicate our love? Because sometimes that love is just, it's too encompassing, it's too scary.
You know what, from my divorce and now having been remarried and I have the experience of my divorce to learn, I am so not shy about saying exactly what I want and how I want it and what I need. And one of the things that I need from my husband that he struggles with, but I don't really care because I need it, is that I need him to tell me that he loves me. And he can do it very easily. Now, here's a man, and I think it's a male issue. You know, he can write it, he can tell me on the phone, but it's like a dog won't look at you. It's like this guy thing. He is very uncomfortable, for whatever his shtick is, to actually have me in the room, look into my eyes and connect with me and say the words, I love you. It's uncomfortable for him. It's scary for him. It's overwhelming. And I've worked with him where he's actually doing it now because he knows it's important to me. But to realize that for a lot of guys, that is so raw honest, that it's so scary for them. But it doesn't mean that you can't ask for what you need. And I
Okay,
don't care
Frida.
anymore.
Through therapy, men control love and women control sex. So if they can understand that the more love that they shower on us, the
more
best sex
sex
they are gonna have.
You know,
It's like a
my
cocktail.
father used to say to me, he said, women give sex for love and men give love for sex.
That's true.
Jesus said
But
that,
it's how
yeah.
we're made up. It's
Yeah.
not, I kind of accepted it because there's a male feeling and a female. We're both totally different worlds.
I wanted to just say one thing about what you said, because I think it was also Richard in the movie, and the one line that got me that I thought was fantastic was when he said, "So you have a broken heart? Okay, so you tried."
Yeah.
And it was just the fact that it's okay to have a broken heart,
Feel it.
that means that you tried to love someone.
And to follow that up,
That's
because that one
interesting.
piece that you were saying, because I resonated with that in a big way, was when he said, okay, so you loved him, love him. And the point that I always say to women, you can fall in love with a lot of people,
Right,
but it
yeah.
doesn't mean that
you
you're
have to
meant
stay
to be
with
with them,
them.
because
That's
they can
right.
kill you.
That's
Right.
right.
They can
That's
absolutely
true.
kill you. So it's
Yeah.
okay to love,
Yeah.
but be specific
Yeah.
about what works in your life on a daily basis when you wake up in the morning and you live your daily routine.
Yes.
I think the
But I
point
think
that-
everybody's looking for the fairy tale. Everybody's looking for that feeling that every day for the rest of your life you're gonna be mad. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna be madly in love with this
No, I
person.
Well, I
don't-
hope
I
not
think
at
that's
this point. I
unrealistic.
think yes, but I hope there's a
I think
redefinition of the
that's-
fairy tale. I hope there's some modification to
I mean,
it.
I am aware of it, but I'm saying people generally that's the
It's a
expectation.
dream, it's a fantasy, and I think you can still have, I say instead of the fairy tale, let's live a reality tale.
Yeah.
We need to tweak that fairy tale a little bit, and it's still very possible, but within means, within realistic expectations of the other person and of yourself.
women love to be in love.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
that is
That's
why
why they
we
look for that fairy tale.
And that's why we stay with guys, because they're not even if they're not perfect, because we're in love and we like that
But you know
feeling.
That's
something,
why-
men like that too. They
No.
like being in love.
No, men, sorry, I don't want to point my finger. Men love being loved. They don't love being in love. They love being loved.
Like a baby, like a mama loves a baby.
They like
You-
having someone to love them. And it can be in a healthy way, just like women love being in love. That's the way of the world.
You know, and that's the guy that one thing
That we're
I've
having a
learned.
conversation with about, is this really gonna work
Yeah,
for you?
the guy I was dating, and he said to me, he goes, men just want to be babies at home. They want to be, they want to be outside in the world. They want to be much, you know, they want to be strong. They want to be the winners out in the world. But then when they come home, they want to be like little babies.
They want to be
He
loved.
said to me,
How many
They wanna
times
be
did you
loved
feel
when they
more
come
like a mother than a wife,
But,
you
I
know?
mean,
It's-
Yeah, which
yeah,
I'm not,
yeah,
look is
I love
which.
that.
And you-
Yeah.
But this is what resonates with me, and the overall theme of the movie is you can't love someone else until you really truly love yourself.
And give
And you
yourself to
know
learn
who
how to
you
do
are.
that, and give yourself that time.
And give yourself that time.
To
And
work
I-
on yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of rushing in and looking for it where you're not gonna
Right.
find it.
But then it's also knowing when you've given yourself too much time and you still haven't found the answer, because that's where I am.
Right. There's a fine line, Kelly,
There
you're
is.
absolutely right. Is where you have to really
Definitely.
move in and jump in a little bit.
Gotta
and-
take
and
chances.
see, Yeah.
You have to.
It's interesting journey. It really is, going from this place of
so
being
how
divorced.
do you know what just Kelly said? Like she said that, okay, she gave herself that time, like in the movie Eat, Love, Pray, she needed to go within herself and she got into the meditation and to just spend time alone. And she did that to get to know herself. And what Kelly was saying is like, yes, I did that. And I've over that. So how do you know when you go out there?
It's like her
and
looking at him when he wants to depart with the boat and go to the island, and she just can't do it. But then she walks away from it and realizes, oh my God, that's the biggest mistake I could ever make.
Right.
And she goes back. She finally resonates in her mind that I do love myself and I can open myself up to this person.
I think you know deep down when it's ready.
Yes.
It's just a matter of, do you have the courage to jump in again after you've been burnt,
Exactly.
right? And that's the
Exactly.
scariest thing.
Totally.
But it's
And
got to
when
be a
you've been
leap of
burnt
faith.
multiple times, it's even
Right.
harder.
But when you've done the work on yourself, there's always a leap of faith. Eleanor Roosevelt had something that she said, every day do something that scares you a little.